It is Friday, November 1st, 2024. This is another edition of Football Today, presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL. You know those dudes, Bobby Skinner, Justin Penik. I am Chris Rose. Gentlemen, next Tuesday, a huge day in this country. It is the NFL trade deadline. So we are going to go around the horn here and make one prediction of a player that will be on the move, and let's make a little competition. 10 points if we nail that the guy gets traded, an additional 10 if you get the right landing destination. Bobby, you'll hit leadoff here.
Kadarius Toney gets traded to the White House because I'm voting him for president.
That was good, Bobby.
I'm gonna do a homecoming, even though it's not really a homecoming, but he played there last year. And this is a little off the radar. Calais Campbell to the Atlanta Falcons. They desperately need help up front. Miami's obviously out of it. You know, they brought him as a 1-year mercenary. Send him back to Atlanta. Like, he was the best pass rusher that team had last year. They added Judon. They could probably get him for nothing. Like, Calais, it's not sexy, but I think Calais Campbell going to Atlanta would help them out a lot.
Good one. Penik?
This is a little bit out of left field. And Rose, you let me know immediately if the Browns are even looking to trade this guy. And no, I'm not going to say Myles Garrett.
Mm-hmm.
But I am going to say the guy on the other side. Mm-hmm. I am going to say Zadarius Smith. And he's going to the Detroit Lions, his third NFC North team. He'll complete the NFC North team if he goes to the Bears additionally. The Lions have to be aggressive. They lost Aiden Hutchinson, who was having historically great season. Zadarius Smith, I believe he's tied for 14th or 15th in the league in sacks right now. He's 32 years old. He's on, I believe, the last year of his deal with some void years afterwards. But the Lions, they have $27 million in cap space right now. They're projected to have $70 million in cap space next year. They've managed these big contracts that they've had, so they have money down the road. Your team is kicking ass right now, but you need a pass rusher. Go get an experienced one. Go get you one that can win in the playoffs. Help you right now. Zadarius Smith to the Detroit Lions. Make it happen.
Yeah, well, he wasn't at Wednesday's practice with an illness. So we'll see what that means. I think that's a decent call on your part. Gentlemen, I'm taking somebody from your team, the New York Giants.
Don't touch him.
Darius Slayton is on the move. Sorry, there's two teams that desperately need him right now. And I don't know where I want to send him. So I'm either sending him to Houston because of the Stephon Diggs injury, or I'm sending him to Tampa Bay because of the Chris Godwin injury. So I'll let you guys help me figure out where Darius Slayton would fit better.
Well, I'd personally, if he was to be traded, want to see him in Tampa. He could reunite with Sterling Shepard. I'd be there for the Darius Slayton revenge game later this year. To me, it's Tampa. Houston has Nico Collins. Tank Dell's, Stephon Diggs was doing a lot of slot stuff for them. Slayton's not going to fit in that role. But it would be Tampa because they can, they're barren right now. And I think he would actually help them quite a bit. So it would make sense to send him to Tampa. Now, if I'm the Giants, to me, it would be out of their minds to trade Darius Slayton. I'm so out on, and the fan base wants it too. They want to get a new quarterback. How about we keep one of the 10 best players on the team and have a second wide receiver for that player instead of trying to swap him for a 5th round pick? And you look at the wide receiver trades, Devontae Adams went for a 3rd. Amari Cooper went for a 3rd. Deontay Johnson for a pick swap that's basically non-existent. And then what was the other one?
DeAndre Hopkins.
And yeah, DeAndre Hopkins went for a 5th round pick that can turn into a 4th. So to me, there's nothing worth trading Slayton for if you're the New York Giants. They should be making a priority to re-sign him. He's their only unrestricted free agent who can get even any decent money. Keep him.
I love stirring up the pot. Okay, you know what? After that discussion, although I really wanted to send me to Houston because after Tank Dell and Nico Collins, the next two guys at the wide receiver position who have the most catches are Robert Woods and Xavier Hutchinson. They each have 5. So I did think about putting him there, and then Tank Dell could actually move into the slot, which he did a little bit last year. So,
can we do some bonus ones?
Quickly.
Greg Newsome to the Commanders. Are the Browns willing to trade him?
Yes, they are willing to trade him. The problem is that he's not good outside. He's not good in the slot either, but he's really not good outside. Okay.
Yeah, I know he's kind of split between the two roles this year.
No, they're willing to deal him. That makes good sense. Anything else interesting?
Yeah, it's just I feel like the Commanders could use a move like that on the defense. I know the defense has performed pretty damn well considering expectations, but I still do think there's just issues secondary wise. Their run defense is bad. Just adding a player, I think, would help because they have a legit shot to win the NFC East and win a playoff game. And Newsome is obviously someone young enough where they could look to extend him to it. Wouldn't be just a short-term rental.
Yeah, no, I agree. All that stuff makes sense to me. Penik, you got anything else before we want to move on?
I mean,
trade-wise?
He's not having a good year. Where if I'm a team again that needs a pass rusher, I'm looking at a lot of pass rushers, and I'm hoping that they're on the move. You should be looking at Azeez Ojulari, but Jadeveon Clowney, the Panthers, I guarantee will give you him for free. He's also not having a good year. He only has 1 sack on the year, 3 QB hits, but I mean, the Carolina Panthers will probably,
they give away stuff, so you can get him for free.
Yeah, and then they'll maybe even give you something. They'll give you a pick swap that's actually better for you, and you get Jadeveon Clowney. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's moved either.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Jadeveon Clowney's not a good pass rusher.
He's not, but he's very good.
I know, but he had a good year in Baltimore. He had one good year opposite Myles Garrett in Cleveland. He had one decent year when he teamed with J.J. Watt. But Joe Thomas told me he is a significantly better run stopper. He's he's excellent. He's a great run stopper, but he's not a pass rush dude. And I'm just getting that from one of the best offensive linemen of our generation.
No, I agree. One of my favorite, you should remember this one, Rose, was about 2 years ago, Clowney, at the end of the year in 2022. His quotes were I feel like they fit the organization favors Myles Garrett over me. And it was just I fucking think they too, Jadeveon Clowney. You seem to be the only one who finds an issue with that, though.
All right, Justin Penik, take it away.
Oh boy, it's been a little bit since we gave an update on the Captain Morgan Playmakers League. I told you I was going to be fine. I'm 2-5, and it's Justin, well, you're playing Dalton Philly this past weekend. Guess what? I beat Dalton 163.4 to 120, and Dalton Philly, still the number 1 team in the league, has fallen to 6-2, and I'm right back in it at 3-5. I mean, James Cook had a good game. Malik Neighbors came back. Terry McLaurin, Chris Olave. Tyreek Hill has Tua back again. So I'm telling you, I'm confident in my team. They're going to keep turning it around, and I wouldn't be surprised. Even though I'm 3-5, I'm still on the outside looking in on the Captain Morgan Playmakers League. I'm going to make the playoffs, and I'm going to cause some havoc. And thanks to our friends over at Captain Morgan for sponsoring the Captain Morgan Playmakers League, because this episode is also brought to you by Captain Morgan. The show's brought to you by Captain Morgan, the official spice rum of the NFL. And this NFL season is where legends are born, on and off the field. Some are last-second plays that's turned the tide and change a team's destiny, while others are friends who follow the captain from within to make a regular get-together into the stuff of legends. So grab your crew, grab a captain and a cola. Make it a story to remember, because legends start when you follow the captain. Visit followthecaptain.com for more. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company in New York, New York. Bobby Skinner, Chris Rose, you will be glad you did. Grab those. Right. Grab a nice little Captain Morgan tonight to relax yourself, Yankee fans, as you get over what just happened, because it was crazy.
Your sorrows.
That should have happened a couple of days ago. I don't understand why anyone thought they could come back. Anyways,
well, they felt good because Garrett Cole was pitching like an animal, and then the worst inning in the history of baseball happened. But if you want to hear more about that, you can tune into Baseball Today. You can turn into Talking Yanks. You can do Talking Baseball. And you get all sorts of different opinions on exactly what transpired. And congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers, by the way.
And drink Captain Morgan.
Let's look ahead to some of the matchups for Week 9. Biggest one, winner will take the lead in the NFC North when the 6-1 Lions pay a visit to the 6-2 Packers. Obviously, the big question is going to be the health of Jordan Love in this one. He did leave last Sunday's win in Jacksonville with a strained groin. He's been day-to-day. He's been limited in practice. He's been riding the bike. He said he could play on Sunday without practicing, although obviously that is not ideal. Lions would remain the number 1 seed with a win. The Packers would be the number 1 seed in the NFC with a win and a Washington loss to your New York Giants out there. Justin Penik, Does it really matter whether or not Jordan Love plays in this game, or is this Detroit's?
Oh, I think it does. I think it does matter because I think the Packers could get involved in a possible shootout. I don't think they can get involved in a shootout with Malik Willis, especially at the pace at which the Lions can score points. But I do think it matters because I think Jordan Love's, they can have an explosive offense. Jordan Love's a gunslinger. He can also make some mistakes. I mean, here's the stat on the Lions though that's just unbelievable. And this is per NFL Next Gen, per NFL Pro, NFL Plus Pro, whatever they call it. The Lions have scored 24 offensive touchdowns in the last 5 games and have just 20 incompletions in that span. They are the first team with more offensive touchdowns than incompletions in a 5-game span since 1950, when we barely threw the ball. So they're doing things that teams literally in 75 years have not done. And it's crazy just how efficient they are. Now, something to monitor. While David Montgomery has been good and he's still looked good and he's been effective, his yards per carry since he kind of banged up his knee a couple weeks ago is a little down. And Jahmyr Gibbs through the last couple weeks has been, they still have been splitting that backfield relatively 50-50, but Jahmyr Gibbs has been much better than David Montgomery. Do they keep that split 50-50 or do they give Gibbs a couple more carries? Do they limit Montgomery a little bit? That's something I'm watching on the Lions offense a little bit, but this Packers team, this Packers defense, they just got to be, they almost you have to go in feeling like you have to play a perfect game to really come away with the win here, right?
Well, the Lions should be giving the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs, regardless of David Montgomery's health. He is averaging 6.7 yards per touch, almost 7 yards per touch for a running back. That's pretty damn special. So, I mean, listen, the Lions are just, here's the thing that's going to keep Green Bay in it. They lead the league with 19 takeaways. They're going to need a few of those, and particularly if Malik Willis is in a quarterback. He has played exceptionally well compared to the Malik Willis, whatever we saw down there with the Titans. But they're going to need to be +2 in the turnover category, don't you think, Bobby?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's just the Packers. So is Malik Willis going to play or not? Because it's hard to.
We don't know yet. As of the taping of the show, we do not know yet.
So I just feel great about.
Say that he feels good. So
I feel great about the Lions regardless in this. Because the Lions have a good run defense. They have a bottom 5 pass defense. So you could see the Packers winning in a shootout. It's just I think the Lions versus the Packers defense is a great. They're a bad rushing defense, so the Lions can run the ball really well. If you haven't heard, and then their pass defense is good, but they win off of blitzes, and you can't blitz the Lions. If you blitz the Lions, you get fucked. Yeah. It's just, again, the only way I could see the Packers winning this game is a Jordan Love shootout, and then, like you said, getting McKinney getting an interception on Goff. I don't see any way they win this game without scoring 35.
Jair Alexander's been really good, and I have a McKinney stat for you too. Xavier McKinney has come away with more interceptions with 6 and recorded more passes defense 7 than he's allowed receptions 5 as the nearest defender in coverage this season. And 5 of his 6 interceptions have come on deep passes of 20-plus air yards. And that's where I think if you're the Lions don't need to, especially without Jameson Williams, the Lions aren't going to really, I feel like, attempt a lot of 20-plus yard passes.
But they don't do it anyways.
Right. And Jared Goff gets rid of the ball quick, and I think that's exactly how you can negate the impact of a guy like Xavier McKinney, who's made such a huge difference in that defense this year because he's made those interceptions as the deep safety. If you're not throwing it deep, then you're negating his impact on the game.
All right, guys, let's go around the horn. Bobby, we'll start with you. Go over to Justin. I'll finish it up. Your prediction, please.
Lions.
Go Pack, go. Even if Malik Willis plays. I think they got some magic. The Lions have not won 3 in a row at Lambeau Field since 1986 through 1988. That was pre-Brett Favre. So I think that lack of a streak continues. Go Packers. It's a big one for you. All right, Monday night, the 4-4 Bucs travel to the lone unbeaten Kansas City Chiefs are 7-0. It's a game that features the guy who leads the NFL in touchdown passes and is second in passing yards, and his name is not Patrick Mahomes. Although Mahomes does come in as one of the leaders in interceptions thrown this year. So can Baker and the boys Well, they don't even really have to keep up. Can they score enough against a really, really good Kansas City defense, Justin, or not?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And it will be led by my guy, Kate Otten. You know whose team has allowed the most fantasy? I like talking about fantasy football every once in a while. I just did during Captain Morgan. You know what team is the worst facing off against tight ends this year? It is the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you saw it on national television week 1 with Isaiah Likely. And I think, the way that the Tampa Bay Bucs are going to have to get by this game, the receivers really were not effective last week against the Falcons. But it was Cade Otton who had 2 touchdown catches, I believe 9 or 10 catches. Cade Otton's had career weeks and back-to-back weeks, and he's going to need another one against a defense that is not very good against tight ends. The Chiefs have allowed 25 or fewer points in 16 consecutive games. That's the longest active streak in the NFL, including the playoffs. The Tampa Bay Bucs will score more than 25 points, and they will win this game.
Wow.
Yep.
You're coming out with a bold prediction right out the gate. I like it.
Yep.
Bobby?
I just think the Chiefs' defense is a different monster than what they got with Atlanta last week. And the Chiefs are going to be able to do enough. If Mike Evans and Chris Godwin playing in this game, I would give the Bucs a chance. But the Chiefs, they're not undefeated for no reason, right? They are a successful offense, even though the Patrick Mahomes stats don't look good this year. The Bucs can't stop the run, which has been a new trend for them. The Chiefs are going to be able to get into their run game. Like, Patrick Mahomes is deadly on third down. There's nobody in that secondary that makes you worry for Tampa Bay. So I think it'll be another grinded out game. But, we talk about Patrick Mahomes throwing interceptions. Baker's thrown 8 in the last 3 games as well, too.
Yep.
And we're talking about a guy who might be forcing it a little bit in this game. So I got the Chiefs. I feel confident that they'll stay undefeated.
Baker, Mahomes, and Jordan Love are the guys that are all leading the NFL in interceptions with 9. So the Chiefs have won 13 in a row, dating back to their last loss, which was Christmas Day against the Raiders. Obviously, that factors in all those playoff wins and the win Super Bowl, etc. Do you know that they've scored 28 or fewer in every game? Every game during that run. And I just wonder if at some point, are we ever going to see the Kansas City Chiefs? They don't have to be what they were with Tyreek or even 2 years ago, but are they ever going to get close to that again?
Yes, as defenses start to change and try and stop the run as stuff goes on, because the NFL's cyclical. But until teams start playing them differently, they're going to play this way.
And honestly, it could be Monday night. If Todd Bowles wants to blitz and he wants to stack the box, which we know that's what his identity is, if they want to have kind of even a little bit of a similar game plan that they had in the Super Bowl, where the offensive line was compromised in that Super Bowl, and then the Kansas City Chiefs are like, we need to fix this, and they did. If they want to do that, then this could be a game where Mahomes goes off a little bit. But I still think that they're going to dink and dunk.
Yeah, and that dink and dunk has led to a career best in terms of completion percentage for Mahomes. He's at 68%. It also means that he's at a career low 236 passing yards per game. Now, we all know that the passing numbers are down because a lot of teams are just keeping everything in front of them. We'll give you the 6-yard completion. We're not going to give you the 17-yard completion. It's that simple. So, I don't know. I mean, here's the bigger question. Do you guys enjoy watching the Kansas City Chiefs play football these days or not?
I do.
Yeah, I like it. I think they play smart football. It reminds you a little bit of early 2000s, grind it out. Yes, I do. They're undefeated. I like watching the Kansas City Chiefs.
Because you know what Mahomes is facing. I feel like, and now this is us that you're asking. You're not asking I feel like the average person would not enjoy. The average person wants to see Patrick Mahomes running around like a nut and then throwing the ball 40 yards down the field. But as a football fan who knows exactly what defenses are not going to allow Patrick Mahomes to do, to watch him still be overall pretty efficient. Obviously, there's interceptions and mistakes, but to watch him be efficient, to watch that offense still be really boring, but still be a top 13, 14 offense, it's impressive. It's impressive stuff because you know that he wants to throw it deep. You know that he wants the big play. But for him to have the discipline where a guy like Josh Allen, it's been years of trying to not do that. Mahomes, it was very quick for him. A very quick adjustment period where he's like, all right, this is just the way that I have to play football.
So, Penik, you've got the upset with the Bucs. Bobby's got the Chiefs. I will be the tiebreaker. I'm going to go with the home team in this one. I hope Baker has a good night. I like watching him play. He's a little bit all over the place, but he's fun, and he's done a really, really good job down there in Tampa. All right, let's move on to a pair of 5-3 teams. The Denver Broncos will head into Baltimore. Both teams 5-3 here. So, are you more curious, Bobby, to see whether or not the Broncos' offense continues to improve under a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix, or whether or not Baltimore can find some sort of defensive identity?
If the Ravens have a good defensive game, you can kind of write it off as like, see, Bo Nix and that offense is bad, right? The Panthers are an outlier game. They're an outlier game for everybody. So for that reason, I'm more interested in the Broncos because this defense is really fucking good. Like they're a top 3 defense. Like that's nothing to be like blinked at. They're a really good defense, and Bo Nix did play well against the Panthers. He did show good things, And at the end of the day, like if he can grow, like he has shown good, he did show good film at Oregon. So they drafted him. Like, can they get something out of that offense? Because if they can just get something out of that offense, they're a team that is dangerous in the playoffs because of how good that defense is.
And this is another team that, similar to Todd Bowles on the Bucs, they're going to blitz a quarterback that can run, and they're going to blitz a quarterback that can move, and that could be a very dangerous thing for you. And the Denver Broncos, they're a defense that I think they have one of the highest blitz rates in the NFL right now. They also have one of the highest sack rates in the NFL right now, behind those New York Football Giants. Had to mention that. But they're dangerous. They're a dangerous defense, and they have a very, very good pass defense. I think the best pass defense in the NFL right now. So I'm wondering, well, number one, how are the Broncos approaching Lamar Jackson? How are they approaching playing this quarterback, number one? And then number two, how is Lamar Jackson going to react to it? That's kind of the thing that I'm excited about, the chess match that's going to happen between Broncos defense and Ravens offense. How do each react to each other?
Well, the Ravens do have the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL. They're putting up over 450 yards per game. Obviously, big part of that is what they're doing on the ground. They're the only team to average 200 rushing yards per game. By the way, Derrick Henry, another 56 yards. He has his 6th career 1,000-yard rushing season. The thing is about that Baltimore defense, do you know that 7 times this year they've given up at least 21 points? Only one team has done that more often, and that is the Carolina Panthers. Like, I watch Baltimore. Obviously, I watched them very closely last week, having played my Cleveland Browns, and they got carved up. Now they've done a very, very good job against the run, but even the Browns had some successful runs against them, but they did whatever they wanted. Now, I know their top 2 corners were out. That is a major problem, major issue. I mean, it might make sense for them to try and go get a corner on the mark, right? They need help in that secondary.
Yeah. Adoree Jackson.
And I think guys like Roquan Smith, you're paid to be the superstar. I think Roquan Smith has played bad this year. Kyle Hamilton has been bad, but like make the plays that you made in previous years. Like I don't think it's just their corners. I think those 2 guys are all pros. Not supposed to be all pros. They're all pros. Play like it. Be a huge advantage for your team, and I don't think either one of them have been.
Yeah, well, I mean, Kyle Hamilton's going to be kicking himself all year for dropping that ball that Jameis threw right to him. So, let's do some predictions. Penik, you want to go first?
Yeah, I have the Ravens in this. I just don't view the Broncos offense as a strength for them right now.
Bobby?
This is so tough because the Broncos defense is so good, but what they do well, Lamar's so good against, which is those 0 blitzes. I'm gonna go Ravens. They bounce back. If they're coming off a loss or a win, I'd pick the Broncos. I'm picking Ravens, but this is upset alert. Even though it's not upset alert at this point because the Broncos are just kind of pretty good.
Broncos are 3-1 on the road too.
Yeah, they've played very, very well. This is going to be a double-digit loss for the Broncos.
Yeah,
I just think that the Ravens, they'll always play a team that seems to be on the rise. Remember last year what they did to the Detroit Lions? I mean, they kicked the crap out of them at home. And I think that the Ravens are primed for something similar this week. I don't think it'll be 30 points, but I could see it be 10 or 13 and maybe never close in the fourth quarter. Last big preview for us, the 3-4 Dallas Cowboys at the 5-3 Atlanta Falcons, who are scoring pretty much at will thanks to Kirk Cousins these days. Dare I even ask if Dallas and that dreadful defense can hang with the Atlanta Falcons, Justin Penik?
I don't think they They can, but Rose, you want to know what I'm looking at right now?
What do you got?
Remember how the Dallas Cowboys didn't lose a game at home since Vietnam last year?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't won a game at home this year, and they're 3-1 on the road. They're 3-4 on the year. They have all three of their wins have come on the road, shockingly enough. So, I don't think the Cowboys still have enough defensively to hang, and I also don't think offensively either. Even though the Falcons' defense, they're not a good run defense and they don't really have much of a pass rush, but still, I don't know if the Cowboys' offense can consistently put 7 points on the board. Maybe they can put 3 up on with Brandon Aubrey kicking field goals, and they can move the ball somewhat, but I don't think they have enough to finish drives consistently, and I think the Falcons do. I think the Falcons may be able to do whatever they want, especially if they can get a running game going, which they should against this Cowboys team. So I'm going Falcons here, and I think they win by 3 or more points.
Yeah, I'm not taking Dallas serious anymore. They can win a game. They have a good quarterback in Dak Prescott, so they can challenge any game. But they were already a team that didn't beat the teams that were, that beat up on bad teams and then struggled versus the winning teams. I think I'm just out on the Dallas Cowboys this year. Even if they were to sneak into the the wild card with a 9-8 record or something, I'm just out on the Cowboys unless they beat the Eagles and the Commanders.
They're allowing the second most points per game in the NFL. A little bit over 28. It's been ugly there. Offensively, that was something you could always hang your hat on, that whenever Dak Prescott was the starting quarterback over the last 3 years, they would lead the league in points per game. They're about 9 off that pace from a year ago. They're just not good enough, man. No. So unless the Falcons just pee all over themselves, which I do not expect them.
They could do.
They are capable, but I don't. Now I have to think about it. Dallas's season on the line. Will Atlanta urinate on itself?
Sure.
It's a bad visual, but you know what? Let's go with it. I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys to get back to 500.
Wow.
Bobby?
Like my high school, PA announcer said, "Go Falcons. Falcons win."
All right, we're going to run through the rest of the games, pick winners. We'll just go around the horn. Bobby, you'll start. Go to Justin. I'll finish it up every time.
I want to start with a chill in the air, leaves falling to the ground, and football every weekend. That's what fall is all about. You can make each weekend even more friggin' exciting by getting into the friggin' action with our partners at DraftKings, the number one place to bet on touchdowns. Bet on Bijan. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will instantly get $200 in bonus bets when you use code football today. I think 200 is more than 5, so that makes sense. That's $200 in bonus bets instantly. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets to bet anytime touchdowns on DraftKings. DraftKings is the place to bet touchdowns. No more home runs because baseball's over. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code football today and bet just $5 on any wager and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code football today, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. You'll be glad you did.
Certainly will. And it is time right now for the rest of our predictions throughout Week 9 in the NFL. As I mentioned, Bobby, you'll hit leadoff, Penik, and then I'll finish it up. Dolphins struggling at 2-6 on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills, a team that knocked out Tua earlier this year. What do you got, Bob?
Bills, don't mess around. Smoke them.
I also have the Bills, and shout out to producer Rich, who keeps our winning percentages updated. I'm leading the year with the 56.5% win rate, 54.7% for Chris Rose, and Bobby Skinner, last place, 47.1%. I think all of us, we got to clean it up a little bit. I think Dalton Philly's kicking our ass. He does this every week, too. Yeah, I have the Bills.
I will finish it up by also taking the Bills. What about the Saints? Sounds like Derek Carr is going to return just in time to take on the Carolina Panthers. Bobby?
Oh, this is your team.
Panthers get a crazy win. Actually, no, never mind. The Saints. Fuck it. The Panthers are awful. Bryce Young is awful. Saints.
Yeah, Saints. Yeah, same here.
Yeah, they're a tough watch. Go Saints.
Feels like the Raiders. Saints have given up on the year too. Like I don't think the players are. I think they're just done.
Raiders on the road in the jungle to take on Joe Burrow and the Bengals. Bobby?
Weird Raiders win. It's just a weird one. Raiders end up winning this game. The Bengals aren't very good.
Season's still alive for my Cincinnati Bengals. They get their first win at home against the Raiders.
I mean, Joe Burrow looked pissed off in his press conference this week when they kept asking him about all those other teams making trades, and he said, "It's not my job. Not my job. You know what your job is? Throw touchdowns. He's going to do it plenty. Bengals will take care of the silver and black." Chargers and Jim Harbaugh on the road in Cleveland. What say you, Bobby?
We roll. Charge on. Let's go Bolts. Chargers win.
I have the Browns.
The Browns will take another win into the bye to get to 3-6 and just have everybody talking crazy for the next 2 weeks.
Are you on Jameis fever, or is the number one defense in the world going to bring us back down to earth on who Jameis Winston is?
No, I mean, he'll get picked off a couple of times. He should have been picked off a couple of times last week.
Isn't it funny how one play can change a whole week of talking?
It's incredible. It really is incredible. He's a 30-30 guy. He's incredible. The Commanders taking on your Giants, boys. Love you, Blue?
Yeah, I think they actually beat the Commanders, and I'm really low on this team, but I think they beat the Commanders this time. It was a 3-point game last time. They win this one.
Giants are much worse at home than they are on the road. Give me the Commanders.
I've never seen home road splits for a quarterback like Daniel Jones.
It's nuts.
It is incredible. What they ought to do is invite every Commanders fan ever into the stadium. Treat it like it's a road game. If that were the case, I'd take the Giants. Instead, I'm going to take the Commanders. Patriots, we think that Drake May is going to be back. We're not so sure. We don't know who's going to be quarterback in the Titans. We think it's Will Levis. Who the heck knows? Bobby?
Drake May and the Patriots win. He's playing. I'm guaranteeing it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Even if it's not Drake May, even if it's Brissett, I just think the Pats have a little bit more under their belt right now than the Titans do.
He has changed the dynamic of that offense when he's in there. Drake May, all three of us taking the Patriots. Bears trying to bounce back from that debacle in Washington on the road to take on Kyler and the Cards. What do you got, Bobby?
This one's tough. You know what? The Cardinals won last week, right?
Yep.
They're an on-off team. I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go Bears. Give me the Bears. I can't take the Bears seriously, but they pissed me off. I'm going to go Bears.
Bears have not won a single game on the road. They've won all of their games at home. This game is so tough because you don't know what version of either team or quarterback you're going to get. I do believe in the Cardinals a little bit more right now, though, even though 2 weeks ago I loved Caleb Williams.
Only one of these teams currently leads its division. That would be the Arizona Cardinals. Let's go do it. Jags and Eagles. That was a game that I believe was moved out of a big time slot. Got moved so that we really can't watch it somewhere.
It's 4:05 on CBS.
Yeah, that's the barium window. Bobby, what do you got?
Doug Peterson does not win his second revenge game. I got the Eagles.
I have the Eagles as well. Yeah.
I'm going to take the Jags. I think they're hanging on by the skin of their teeth. Obviously, the trade of Cam Robinson signals something, but I think this is one of those games where Nick Sirianni is going to coach down to the other team's level. Rams and Seahawks going at it up in the Pacific Northwest. Bobby.
Rams, and we start to get a little belief in the Rams. I think Stafford's playing well. I got the Rams.
There's so many teams with awful home and away splits. The Jags don't have a road on the win, and the Rams don't have a.
They don't have a road on the win, Rose.
They don't have a home on the win, and the home on the range, and the deer and the antelope play. The Rams get their first win on the road, though.
The Seahawks were dreadful at the goal line last week. That messed them up in 2 separate drives against the Bills. I actually think that the Seahawks are going to take care of business up there. Finally, Sunday night football. Joe Flacco and the mighty Colts taking on the Vikings.
Vikings. I mean, they're still good. I know Darisaul's a huge loss, but that Colts defense sucks. Vikings.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Vikings too. Put old man Joe on the ground a couple times.
I'm with you. We'll finish it up with all in agreement. All right, boys. This was always a ton of fun. You can make fun of us next week when we only get half of our predictions right, because that's the way we roll around.
That's the going rate.
For Justin Penik and Bobby Skinner, I am Chris Rose. We will see you next time here on Football Today, presented to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL.